This video is going to be a film study look at Jared Goff's performance, which I thought was quite spectacular against the Bills in the Week 15 loss at home, 48-42. Goff was 38 of 59 passing. Of course, you don't want to. The winning formula isn't him throwing the ball 60 times. Nonetheless, he did have 5 touchdowns. If you extrapolate his performance or his stats out, I should say, over the last 5 weeks, 14 touchdowns versus 1 interception. That lone pick was against the Packers at home 2 weeks ago in the 34-31 win. Are they going to have to rely on him more? I think it's possible. It's a topic that I broached a little bit in a video that I put out late Monday night about how the game flow and the result was kind of doomed from the start by falling behind 14-0, 21-7, and then eventually 35-14 when the offense had a fumble and then a punt to open the third quarter. I think Goff's play was exemplary. I think he deserves to be praised, and I want to cover as many of the plays as possible in this video. Absent a long intro, I'll try to go over the coverages that I think the Bills were playing. Now, I want to get something out of the way up front. I don't think that the Bills are a man coverage team generally. They seem to be a team that wants to rely on zone, and that's dating back to like 2019, to be honest with you. This is a second quarter play. It's a third down, and Goff is getting out of there against zone. I think he knows where he's going with this football once he breaks contain. It's a beautiful effort by Tim Patrick, obviously, to get into the end zone. Like I said, they're down 14-0 at this point. And we're early into the second quarter. I think I maybe misspoke a moment ago. Watch the Bills defenders dropping out of here. And the way they're oriented, it basically is working out like a cover 3 inside of the red zone, in the short red zone, if you will. I'm familiar with it, and I'm comfortable as a person who coached defenses playing cover 3 in those situations. It geometrically covers the field horizontally, number one, and leaves particular distinct lanes between defenders for short throws. You just got to be able to react to them. The Bills in zone are very reactive to looking at the quarterback, just like a lot of NFL teams and high-level football defenses. When Goff breaks out of here, I think this is all a fake. I think, perhaps he's looking at this receiver here. He's not going to throw this ball moving to his right, in my opinion, trying to stick it in there with defenders recovering from the backside. I think he knows exactly where he's going with it, and that's all a fake, a high-level game of chess there by Jared Goff. Really plugged them in from an emotional standpoint. I know they still fell behind 21-7. I thought this play and a couple of his other scrambles, certainly wouldn't call them athletic plays compared to other quarterbacks, but plays where he had to show some agility, move around in the pocket, or in fact escape and get out of there, still make something happen where there was nothing. The run game was shut down. For him to be able to generate as many passing yards as he did and 5 touchdowns on a day when the offense was the run game, was completely shut down, I just think speaks really well of him. And it's a larger point that I want to make, how people should, I would like for us as football evaluators to evaluate performances and not players. And here's what I mean. If Jared Goff had done this 2 years ago in 2022, what would have been said? I don't think people would have been praising him as much as they were. I don't mean Lions fans. Meaning, if a player does something, even if it's anomalous, over a 60-minute time period against a really high-level opponent, we should give them credit for it. Early in the game, the Bills were blitzing against 13 personnel. This is 13 personnel. That inside linebacker 43 was blitzing often. So second quarter, down 21-7, and Ben Johnson, those guys have made the adjustment. Go 13 personnel, play action pass. Perhaps I'd like to have seen them do this a little bit earlier. Credit to the Bills for recognizing a pattern, if you will, a tendency, and deciding, hey, we're going to stop the run against 13 personnel. 2 situations before this play, they're blitzing, and we talked about it in our Lions Discord. Like, on some of these run concepts, they're attacking. They're almost across the line of scrimmage already when the running back is taking the handoff. In this case, it's a play action. Jamison Williams, I think, for 18 yards, big tackle. They played hard, and they tackled well with force. I think part of that is because they play so much zone. Their guys see the ball thrown. They're able to react to it. Look at the communication that's occurring between those 4 players there. Matt Milano is a part of it, but 43 was the blitzer against 13 personnel, and sure enough, here he comes again. Ragnow peels off, gets his arm in front, so maybe that's why they're not calling the hold. I don't know, but in any case, Goff, play action, hits Jamison Williams, the only wide receiver on the field, big gain, trying to plug them in. Like I said, they're down 21-7 at this point. This is a 4th and 4 critical conversion, if you ask me. It's St. Brown. St. Brown, of course, had a drop, if you want to call it a drop, had a fumble as well. Did end up with 14 catches, I think, for 193. He wins here against man over the middle. when I say that I don't think this is a man defense, I don't think that man is their best coverage to be in because of their personnel. It doesn't mean I don't think they have good football players over there. They do. Those guys, I think, generally are zone match concept guys and not man coverage players. I feel like you can see evidence of it in this game. And when Goff got man coverage, in fact, he often took advantage of it. Still the same drive, down 21-7 in the second quarter, 3rd and 10. That's the thing to note about Goff's performance to me is how I hate to use the word gritty. It's probably overused at this point, but how tough he was and how resilient on these 3rd and 4th down situations to keep the team in the game. This is like a match quarter, half. So when I say match, I mean, essentially playing man here and here, everyone else playing a quarter, half zone. And so Goff on this 3rd and 10 knows what he's got coverage-wise to the boundary, where he escapes to. I don't think this is by chance. So what I mean is man here, conceptually, compared to the other guys who are staring at the quarterback, you can see not in man relationship. So zone to this side, man to the top side, and sure enough, that's where Jared Goff escapes when the 4-man pressure breaks down the pocket. I don't know about you, but on that 3rd and 10 down 21-7, when I saw him stacked up in the pocket, I was like, oh, we got a problem here. This is going to be a sack, force them into a field goal. 21-10 doesn't sound great with the way the Bills' offense was rolling. That was a key play for Jared Goff to be able to get out of there. Just as big as the touchdown that he threw to Tim Patrick to get them on the board when they were down 14-0 on that other 3rd down that I mentioned. 13 personnel, again, playing off of that tendency. So jumbo 13, in fact. This is second quarter, still same drive, down 21-7, making it look like play action to draw all these guys up. Look at all the congestion, all the responsiveness that you've got. Maybe you would have liked to see a little bit more of that early from Ben Johnson and the offense. It's hard to be too critical when they're up against such a small margin for error, if you will. Let's say that respectfully with what the defense was able to get accomplished against Josh Allen. But early on, the Bills were completely selling out to stop the run, and you can see everyone reacting here to this. I would love to see these two teams play again in a more equitable talent differential on the defensive side. Unfortunately, it's probably not going to happen in 2024. So these types of plays, these types of adjustments that I'm trying to describe to you or illustrate, Ben Johnson, unfortunately, might be unfair. He may have to make them a little bit sooner than he would in a normal situation. That one got the Lions to within 21-14. We're skipping around here. We're skipping a lot of plays to try to illustrate or highlight Goff and what he did well and was able to take advantage of in a disadvantageous situation whereby the Bills had shut down or stopped the run for most of the day, and he was still able to get things accomplished. So this is late second quarter. It's a 2nd and 2, classic 2-man route combo for the Lions. Sometimes you'll get a short in-breaking route by the outside receiver, deeper dig, if you will, by the slot. Other times they'll do it in the opposite manner. Sometimes they'll tag it with an out concept by the number 2, and then a deep in concept dig by the outside receiver. Like I said, it's a 2nd and 2, and here Laporta has cleared out the inside linebacker. Look how soon Goff is throwing the football. He knows exactly what St. Brown's going to do from an open space standpoint. Kind of fits it in there on the back hip. St. Brown able to get it down. And at this point, it's 21-14. The Bills have missed a field goal, in fact. So to me, I'm thinking this is going to be wonderful if they can go down there and tie this football game after the really horrible start that they had defensively and offensively, for that matter. It's a 2nd and 10. Same drive, 2 plays after St. Brown's catch. And huge hit on St. Brown by Taron Johnson, who he's a spectacular football player, man. He's just got great reactions. If you don't know, he's a guy who had a 102-yard interception return for a touchdown against the Ravens in the 2020 divisional round, a really hard-fought game on an extremely cold, windy night in Buffalo. I think the Ravens were down 10-3 at that point, so we're really close to scoring and tying the game or getting a field goal to be down 10-7, and he made the play of the game to basically get us out of there. This is a huge shot on St. Brown on a 2nd and 10. You don't normally see St. Brown take those shots because, first of all, he's so intelligent and Goff is so aware. He's not usually putting the ball in those locations. I thought this was a big moment This is the very next play. And I want to show the end zone angle first, which seems kind of backwards. This is after St. Brown just got stung by Taron Johnson. Well, now they're matched up in man. And St. Brown wins. This is a huge win against Johnson. Loses him clearly. And it looks to me, as St. Brown raises his hand, that for whatever reason, he's not moving in this direction as much as Goff thinks he's going to. Is this ball thrown 2 feet too far to the left? I don't think Goff has misthrown this football, and I hesitate to say St. Brown didn't take the route where he's supposed to. Call it a drop, if you will. What I really think the larger piece here is that Goff thought he led him in this direction further than, for whatever reason, St. Brown thought he needed to be. Absolute win for St. Brown against Taron Johnson, and this kind of speaks to my point. They're not a man coverage team, in my opinion, and I don't say that to denigrate the Bills. They're playing badass football. They're going to be a huge problem in the AFC playoffs. And I also don't say it to minimize or soften the impact of how well Goff was able to throw the ball. It's just reality. At that level, look, compared to other levels of football, if all of these players for the Bills were on the field together, they're a great man coverage team. But at the highest level of the NFL, they're not a great man coverage team, more so fitted for zone. This is the same play, by the way, from the all-22 angle. Now you can see it. The move is great that St. Brown puts on Taron Johnson. And as he gets through, he puts his hand up in the air. He knows he's won. I'm just not sure that there's no way that they want the ball thrown over the top here to bring this safety into play. I think Goff's making the right decision about throwing the ball in this direction. Maybe a little bit flatter route by St. Brown gets this done. Call it a drop, if you will. Either way, it's disappointing. It forced them into a long field goal attempt that clearly ended up being wide left. I mean, we could have been 21-21 at the half, or right before the half, I should say, after a really disappointing start, or at worst, 21-17. That situation, not getting points there, and then the punt and the fumble in the third quarter really, along with the poor start, put the Lions in an uphill battle. And the point of this video is for me to praise and try to illustrate and convey my thoughts to you about how well Jared Goff played despite all of that. People call it garbage time yards. I guess if that's a negative way people want to take it to perspective, go right ahead. That's not my perspective when I see someone execute to the degree that he did, particularly on third and fourth down. So we have had a punt and a fumble by St. Brown in the third quarter. It's now 35-14. I mean, talk about shocking. And facing a 3rd and 17 here. Watch how they get this done. Now, number one, it has to be said, number 43 gets his hands on this football. But they've put 43 and the entire middle of the field in some conflict. Goff obviously trusts St. Brown to throw him this football after he's already had a fumble and they had a miscommunication, whatever you want to call it, the 3rd and 10 in the second quarter, the play that I illustrated where St. Brown wins. When you get the end zone angle, you'll see this. Look at when he's throwing this football. St. Brown is nowhere near making his break. Goff has got the window between, a small window, if you ask me, between those two inside linebackers, puts just enough on it to get it over the top. And I think as great a play as it is by Goff to get that ball there, St. Brown catching it after it's tipped by the inside linebacker. This one gets them to within 35-21. So the inside linebacker I'm talking about is 43. This is the same play from the end zone angle. Keep in mind, it's a 3rd and 17. So the Bills know that you've got to throw the ball deep. And you guys don't see him. St. Brown is just off screen here to the top right. Goff already throwing the football. It's tipped by 43. And then St. Brown still catches it. I'm going to let that flow through a couple of times. Hopefully it's not too choppy for you guys. The camera is moving, so my apologies if it is. You can clearly see that he tips it, and then St. Brown still catches it. I mean, that's sick. You do a tipped catch drill, but, I mean, what's the success rate on that from that close behind? I mean, St. Brown's probably like 4 to 5 yards, maybe 6 behind the inside linebacker to catch it. Beautiful stuff by Goff to trust him. Maybe fortunate, luck, whatever people want to call it, that it turns into a 66-yard touchdown. So we're moving forward here. They've actually got the Bills held to a field goal, ends up being 38-21. I believe this is the 9th possession. I may have that mismarked. It may have been the 8th. My game charting was all messed up. So Goff is forced to scramble out of here to the right and find Gibbs on the 2nd and 4. They're going to have to get Gibbs the ball in the pass game. Is the O-line going to struggle to run block? I don't know. I can't really necessarily answer that question in this video. I do have probably about 30 run plays saved up from the last 3 contests that haven't been as efficient. I'll try to produce something for Wednesday about that if you guys are interested in it. I felt like Jared Goff was more so deserving or something that needed to be covered. I know the NFL is going to chop, or the YouTube /NFL is going to chop this video up probably Wednesday afternoon. So if you do enjoy it, please let me know in the comment section. It's kind of frustrating to produce content and know that it's going to get cut up, but still fun nonetheless to try to produce and try to get out in as timely a fashion as possible. Tuesday afternoon is obviously getting a little bit late. Same drive, 38-21, and sick stuff from Goff against a cover 3. So he'll look over here, and I think I'll give you the end zone angle, and he's moving this guy. Moving, kind of hesitate to use that sometimes. He's influencing and encouraging him to move in that direction. And sure enough, he does. You can see his feet end up inside the hash, or at least his right foot, and that just opens up the lane for Laporta, who had a big day. I think 7 catches, 111 yards. Goff's able to get that throw in there, up the right seam, give you the end zone angle of the same play. The way the Bills are getting this accomplished is 54 is pushing the flats, 43 is responsible for the hash here, and as Goff looks in this direction first, you can see his head's actually starting to come back to our left, his right. 43 drifts in that direction. Goff brings the throw back. I feel like if these two teams were to play again this week, that Goff and the Lions would probably try to throw the football a little more, and the Bills might try to make some adjustments in terms of the coverages they play. I would suggest or offer my evaluation that one of their answers, the Bills' answers, is not to play man, because I don't think they have that those types of matchups in their favor. We're into the 4th quarter here now. My apologies for sticking through that graphic back on the screen. Still 38-21, same drive essentially. And this is going to be the play that gets them, I guess it's controversial after this, the decision by Dan Campbell. I don't think it's controversial. I understand that some of you may. 38-21, you've just scored. It took 5 plays to score here, okay? That's one thing to mention. You're at home in front of a great crowd. It's not like I watched the Seahawks play the Packers Sunday night. I watched some of it, and it seemed like there was more Packers fans than Seahawks fans. That's not the case in Detroit, not against the Bills. I know there was a group that traveled, but you've just scored in 5 plays to get down by 10, 12 minutes left in a game that you struggled to get things going offensively with the run game. And so from a momentum standpoint, it doesn't bother me. And it also doesn't bother me given the reflection of the defensive stats that Dan Campbell had to his access at that time. Basically, you weren't stopping the Bills to that point. They did not, in fact, just get a stop. They held the Bills to a field goal. It doesn't bother me that they onside kicked with 12 minutes left. What bothers me even more, actually more, is that they didn't onside kick after the ensuing touchdown to get within 45, 35 a little bit later. All right, so it's 45-28. This is the aforementioned after the onside kick where the Bills scored in 9 seconds. 9 seconds of gameplay elapsed, I guess I should say, in order for the Bills to generate a touchdown. And another cover 3 example by the Bills here, and Goff is going to get this throw to Jamison Williams on a deeper out. When he let go of this football, I thought, oh no, that curl flat defender is sinking there. It's Taron Johnson, who's a dangerous dude to deal with. So he's sinking to the curl flat. Jamison Williams is running a deeper out. So Goff's got to get this throw over the top of him off of a little bit of a play action, and he does so. I don't know, when they zoom out in the all-22, it kind of, I feel like we kind of lose some of the angle of understanding. I think this is a great throw. Probably goes unmentioned over the course of a season and even over the course of a game, especially when you throw 59 times. This is the same play from the end zone angle. You may not exactly get a appreciation of it, so if not, my apologies for zooming in a little bit. I'll try to pull the screen over if possible. It's a play action, cover 3, and so Taron Johnson is just coming into your screen here on the left-hand side. So you can see the ball is thrown at the right trajectory, height, if you will, such that he wasn't able to make a play on it. I just think from the all-22 angle maybe is the better view of it to give you an idea of the layered nature of the throw that Goff had to make. to get it in there to Jamison Williams. It didn't seem to be a 97-mile fastball on that one. It seemed to be an 89-mile-an-hour fastball that just got in there. This was probably Laporta's most impactful day over the course of the season in an important moment, where he organically had catches. This is a 3rd and 7. Pretty obvious it's a pick, rub, whatever you want to call it, down here by the outside receiver to get to the outside shoulder but not make contact, such that Laporta can run the out from the slot on a 3rd and 7. And then the part that impressed me the most is Laporta played strong. Not just catching the football, being able to get the first down or get close, but shrug off the DB. This is what they need, given the status of the defense and Montgomery being out. Let's just say for a moment, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, that the run game continues to struggle, continues to be a little bit less consistent than you would like. Then you need Goff to play extremely well, Laporta to return to close to his 2023 efficiency. Another patented 2-receiver route into the boundary with Laporta and St. Brown. This is the type of thing that I'm kind of referring to. It's a 3rd down. It's a 3rd and 9. And against the inside linebacker, St. Brown's able to sit this down. Like I drew up earlier, sometimes you get the outside receiver running a shallow in and the inside receiver, the number 2, running the deeper. And sometimes it's like this. Sometimes one or both of those guys goes out. Just 2-receiver stuff into the boundary. Goff, St. Brown, and Laporta can have predetermined routes, or they can adjust to the defense as needed. Big moment, big conversion there. Gibbs is able to score on the very next play. 2 plays later, 8 minutes left. This one gets them to within 10. Where are you with the onside kick stuff? I guess at hopefully this point it's kind of played out, the discussion of it, but in our Discord, some people liked it, some people did not. I kind of feel like the Bills were still offensively looked unstoppable to me, to this Lions defense that was on the field on this day. If they were to face the completely healthy version of Detroit's defense, do I think that they'd be able to get more done? Absolutely. I think they'd be in a better situation to get stops and maybe justify not onside kicking. I just feel like Ben Johnson and the staff kind of knew that they were fighting uphill, and Dan Campbell recognized it. I think he recognized that the offense, you weren't going to get 2 stops in the last 12 minutes. I don't think you were going to get 2 stops in the last 15 or 18 minutes. And so as a result, the onside kick didn't bother me. If anything, I would ask him why he didn't onside kick with 8 minutes left, but I would do so in a respectful fashion because, man, I enjoy listening to the guy talk and seeing this team coach football and play. Last play that I'll show, this is the 4th and 10 that for these guys to execute this on 4th and 10, it just tells you how well practiced they are and how they don't panic. It damn near goes for a touchdown. Hook and lateral, whatever you want to call it, to St. Brown, sure-handed, flip to Gibbs, big gain up the right sideline. They weren't able to get this thing done. I wanted to show as much respect or appreciation for what Goff and the offense was able to do in a difficult circumstance. In my opinion, a difficult circumstance, falling behind 14-0, and then not getting points late second quarter, where Goff and St. Brown are unable to hook up. You're probably talking about the difference of a foot, maybe 8 to 10 inches, whereby St. Brown catches that football, whether Goff needs to put that throw 8 or 10 inches more to his right, or St. Brown needs to flatten his route out a little bit more. I'm talking about the one where he beats Taron Johnson and gets on the other side of him. Those situations, and then the fumble and the punt in the third quarter, as crazy as this sounds with all the injuries and as well as Josh Allen played, I could absolutely see Detroit have winning this game by 7 points or more if 2 or 3 of those situations I just described, the early 14-0 deficit, the missed field goal, missed opportunity late second quarter, in fact, and then the fumble and the punt in the third quarter. Does it mean that the Lions offense might have to play perfect to win against the best teams? Yes, that might be what it means. And that's okay. You're going to have to execute at a really high level offensively anyway in the playoffs, whether you're at home or on the road, or if you're fortunate enough, blessed enough to get to the Super Bowl. I still think that this season is all there. Everything is right in front of this Lions team. Absolutely agree with the tone and tenor of what Dan Campbell came out and said on a radio station early Tuesday morning. I was glad to see him do that. I hope it invigorated you, or at least gave you a sense of hope and trust and faith in what they can get accomplished there in that locker room, on the practice field, and then in Chicago next week when they go on the road to take on the Bears. Appreciate you guys' time, man. If you enjoyed my film study here about Jared Goff, and I probably diverged into some other topics or other players as well, then please let me know in the comment section, number one. Number two, if you think other Lions fans would enjoy this film study look at Jared Goff's 5-touchdown performance on 59 throws in an uphill battle against the Bills on Sunday, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.